Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Invincible Iron Man issue 12. So, I overall enjoyed this book, but there were some parts of it that kind of, First off, with the art, there were some places that was like kind of dark and a little bit strange, mainly with the fallout of the Stark Tower being like destroyed. It was just a little bit too dark in some spots. It wasn't bad, and it's been okay artwork, but I prefer the artist that was here before who's doing Civil War 2. But that also brings into effect the storyline part in that it's still kind of after the Bio Ninjas and everything, but if you're not reading Civil War 2, or at least looking at what's going on in Civil War 2, you're kind of confused as to what's happened. Like, I don't know what happened with the Stark Tower thing. I don't know why it got blown up. I've only been alluded to stuff in the book about what happened with it, so I was kind of like, okay. I did like when they were talking about Tony talking to the board like, well, you were gone for so long and you had an AI running the company. It's like, well, it took you like 2 weeks to figure that out and you used company funds to hire a supervillain to break into my stuff. So yeah, you can do your vote thing, but you kind of done screwed up yourself. And it just shows that, yeah, Tony's the big brains behind everything, but the thing is, these people have not been confidently and competently running this company. So even though they're putting all the fingers and everything on him, they have been appointed as the board to hire people to do that kind of stuff effectively. He's supposed to sit back and invent stuff. It's like, okay, you people are being very unreasonable. And it was interesting seeing MJ and Friday talking with him like, okay, who have I pissed off the most? And it's like, so he goes to visit Amara, who he's been dating, kind of, but he went undercover, so it's like, okay, he took flowers there, but she was off somewhere. I think she was doing something with Dr. Doom, because her research was at that critical stage. So we haven't seen anything really from her, Doom, in a little bit. So he's talking with who's taken over her lab for a little bit, so he's like, okay, yeah, picture, Then he's about to leave, and the head of MIT is like, I thought you were here to talk about Riri Williams. And then we lead to Tony finding out about Riri Williams, and then going to Riri and her mother. Now, there are just some parts of this kind of part of the comic that kind of irked me a little bit. I liked Riri's mother. She had completely normal reaction to finding out that her daughter had essentially been stealing parts from various places around MIT to reverse engineer, as Riri put it, the Mark 41 armor of Tony, because we find that later on in the segment. And it's not bad, it's just like you use what's available to you. And it's funny, the mother's like, make a bomb or something? It's like, no, I'm about ready to debut myself. I'm like, okay. I mean, you did a successful kind of test flight, but your armor kind of fell apart. So you kind of have to work out that kind of kink before you, like, debut yourself as whatever you're trying to do. Because she's talking about that, and it wasn't clear if she was going to do it as, like, a competitor of Iron Man. Like, I could do this kind of stuff myself. Or as a superhero, you know what I mean? Because I thought this kind of technological kind of advancement kind of person was done kind of more effectively with Ezekiel Stane, because he took like the Iron Man concept and pushed it to a biological tech that was very dangerous and very effective in showing what was going on there. This is kind of trying to cobble together kind of Iron Man's origin story with kind of like a broken piece of suit in the cave. Because what worked so well with Tony's origin story was he was forged into the Iron Man. And they have to enforce that concept in Riri Williams. In order to be that kind of like Iron Suit person, you have to forge yourself into that being that person to make that armor, make those kind of choices and everything. And that's not kind of what I'm getting at the moment. I'm not saying that they can't do it later on, but it's kind of like, okay, what's your kind of goal here? Because at the moment, they're telling us that she is very smart, but they're not showing us that she's very smart. And I know that's kind of a weird thing, But the main thing is they have to juggle between Riri Williams and Tony Stark. So that doesn't give them enough effective time to do that, in my opinion. So when they're going through with this, they're talking about, because Tony shows up and they're like, okay, tell me about it. Oh, Mark 41, okay, you kind of got issues here. You need an AI. And then a thing that irked me is she asked Tony for one. And to me, someone who's going to be doing Iron Man would have, in my opinion, already tried to build an AI. Usually that kind of thing would have went rampant, and that's when Tony would have been called in. She's like, I got this thing. I made it. I'm going to take it out. And then she would have problems and issues with the issue, but I thought that would be more effective than her asking for one. And then Tony's talking about like, yeah, the AIs I've got cost like $45, like $1 million. It's like a lot of money. He's like, so, you're rich. And it's like, I'm not that rich to just give out AIs to people. I mean, you gotta earn it. You gotta show that you can like do it. And she's like, fine, I'll make one myself. I'm thinking she should have been already trying to make one herself in the process of having a rudimentary kind of thing. But then again, of course, since trying to do it between Tony and Riri, they don't have enough room in a comic to do that thing. So it's like, okay. So, he proposes to take them both out for dinner and kind of talk over what's going on with this thing, because Riri's mother's freaking out that she wants to be a superhero, but Tony's like, okay, she's going to do this anyway. Let's try and help her along. Let's try and make sure that she does this right instead of completely and utterly leading to an even worse situation, since everything's already at Civil War level. Boom. So that was kind of cool. Those were just my kind of issues with this segment. It's mainly the writing to get to the point more than the character itself. I'd rather be shown why she should be the next Iron Man rather than told that she should be the next Iron Man, if that makes sense. And of course, I think that we'll be getting more of that because they built, I think, a solid foundation on her to build her out later on. So we kind of get, at the end of this issue, Tony's kind of talking to everybody and they're like, are you okay, Stark? He's like, yes, I know I'm okay. But see, the thing is, I don't know what to do right now. Because I could effectively take out the Inhumans and Carol and all that if I so choose. But I don't know what to do because I've lost my friends. Everybody's betrayed me. I don't know what to do. Riri Williams knows what to do. Rhodey would have known what to do. And then that's when Dr. Doom's like, I got something to show you. He's like, alright, Doom is becoming I like what they're doing with him because I don't know what they're doing with him. That's exciting. So it's gonna be interesting to see him and Riri Williams and see how they both honor Iron Man when their respective books launch. So I really overall enjoyed this issue, even though there are some kind of gripes, and that's mainly because of the writing of characters more so than the characters themselves. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.